What's going on, everyone? This is the Fraser LeVay podcast weekly segment with Uncle Blaiso, where we're going to talk college football, NFL, some Yellowstone, probably, and other nonsense that comes up typically, and sponsored by faneverland.com. Remember, check out faneverland.com. I wrote Blaze the top 5 teams I think that can win the Super Bowl, which is a bit of a zag, but I think we'll cover them today anyways.
The zag, I like it.
Yep. First, college football I want to get into.
Okay.
And we already argued this via text. I think we argue this exact same thing every year, which is weird because you're always very anti people of your ilk, the
Whoa. Okay,
participation.
let's start out with what that means.
You know what I mean. Participation trophies, the world's gone
I know
soft.
what you mean. The people at home don't necessarily know what you mean. All right. Yeah, I don't like participation trophies and all that bullshit.
Yeah. But then every year you always take the side of the TCUs, the USCs, and then this year SMU because they deserve to make it. And I just don't get it because I know obviously SMU's in it and I get the points and need that they could be in, but it's just like, do you want the best teams or do you not? And the line I think is 8.5 or 11 or something like that with SMU and 11.5 with Clemson. Where if Alabama was in, the line would be 3.5, maybe even. So it's just like, do we want the best teams to play, or do we just want to reward participation trophies? Like, I just don't understand.
No. These aren't participation. They're totally different. They're totally different. What you're saying, like the teams didn't just show up. They actually won the games. Like the participation trophy is for like if they said, okay, everybody in the SEC, you guys get to come in because you participated in the toughest conference. That's participation trophies comparison. Alabama, you can't say they're one of the best teams because maybe they're one of the more talented teams, but they didn't do it. They didn't earn it. At the end of the day, you got to win most of your games, and losing 3 games is just not what they're looking for. And I've got no problem with that. If they wouldn't have blown it against Oklahoma, they would have been in. And instead, they went to Oklahoma and got dog walked. So there's no sympathy here.
And I'm not going to argue either way. I just think it could have. Alabama easily should or could make it. I think I would give them a 51% edge. I think obviously we both know if SMU didn't lose, they lost.
Yeah.
And I guess they wouldn't be in, but it's hard to kick them out when they lost just, a last second.
I'm sure. Game. I'm sure at the first half, at halftime when it was 24-7 for Clemson, the committee was saying, okay, well, this is our chance now. SMU is going to get worked. We're going to bump in Bama or whoever. But they showed some fight and they came back and they, were a terrible kick coverage away from going to overtime. So I don't know. I think you got to give it to them. Would they beat Bama straight up? Who knows? We've seen Bama lose to teams that are not as good as them. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think I've always said with the SEC, it's like every week you're kind of getting up for these huge games. So I'll let get down games more easy where when SMU's rolling through, Alabama has some shit teams in there as well, of course. But yeah, I would like to see Alabama in just because I think the line would be 3.5 points. Like for a game they need to get up for, it would be a good game. It would be Bama is either even or, a 2.5 point dog, not an 8.5 point dog like SMU is or 11.5 Clemson is, because that's not the best teams or the best football. But
let's be honest. You want Bama in because you had a 15-1 ticket on them to win the national championship.
But I had it
because you wanted them.
But because it's smart, because of this reason, they should be in. That's obviously a great part of it too.
They're not in, so no, they shouldn't be in.
But because they would give a better game, they would. Gun to your head, if I give you had $100,000, you had to put it on Alabama or SMU to go further, you would put it on Alabama.
Well, no, because they're not in, so that's pretty easy. They're not in debt, so you get 0 for putting them in.
Speaking of my bets took another fucking hit. Carson Beck could be out.
Oh yeah, but he's been garbage anyway.
I was wondering.
Right, like he's been playing like shit all year. He's had a few splashes where he's looked good, but I actually think that this having him injured this last game, it almost works better for him because now you get this Stockton kid who's setting all sorts of records in his high school career in Georgia. Now he's going to get
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks to prepare, a little over 2 weeks to prepare. The visiting, the opponent team has little to no tape on the kid, and
Mm-hmm.
who knows what they come up with. He can clearly move, he can clearly run, and they can run the ball sometimes. So I don't know. I think it's actually working in their favor that he got hurt. Obviously, way more now than if he would have gotten hurt on the road. So, but back
Yeah,
up a little bit
I was wondering that too.
Before you jump there,
Okay.
because just in case we don't come back to it, one more thing on Alabama. Their AD is like biggest loser
Every
of the
AD does
week.
this.
Okay, but hold on. I want to just go over. I actually made some notes here. You'll be proud of me. I actually made some notes.
Okay,
He's
some
going
notes.
on and he's chirping about how, maybe we just, if this is how they're going to look at it, maybe we won't schedule, such difficult games. Motherfucker, here's your out of conference games: Western
Mercer.
Kentucky, South Florida, Wisconsin. Didn't even go to a bowl game, and Mercer. Okay,
Hmm.
so how much worse can you get? Are you going to play
Hmm.
like Indian Hills Community College? Like who are you going to play? What are we doing? So I don't want to hear that from him. That's nonsense. And I get it. You're right. The ADs, they got to stick up for their program. They got to say something. But dude, don't be chiming that you're going to like back off on the out of conference schedule when this is the nonsense that you played. Okay,
Uh,
that's nonsense. I mean, look at it. At least Georgia, Clemson, like they schedule some tough games, and you know what?
hmm.
Clemson took a chance. They played Georgia and they got worked, and they're
Hmm.
lucky to get into the way it worked out with their conference. But I don't want to hear from this guy. That's he needs to just go away and focus on next year.
I mean, he was right to stick up, but he definitely did it incorrectly. You might have been drunk.
Yeah,
He at least like if you're gonna do it, make sure you can't
might
be
have been
like,
in the sauce. Yeah.
yeah, sir, you played Mercer, so can you relax? That was a
Yes.
school.
Yes. Exactly. I thought it was a boxer, probably
Yeah,
before your time. Merciless Ray Mercer. He was a beauty.
yeah,
That's like the last Mercer that I heard of from that was any good. And
yeah,
they played him, and they didn't just play him like in a early season game.
yeah. It
They
was
played him
2 weeks
like
ago,
three
right?
weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks
Like,
ago.
get the shut up, man. This guy's got to
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, that's fair. Um, so back to Georgia. So I guess you just
Okay,
think Georgia will be fine with Gunner Stockton.
I do.
I was trying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I still think Georgia's got to be one of the favorites to win it, aren't they? Like
Hmm.
they,
They have such an
I mean,
easy, maybe not an easy road, but I'd
yeah.
rather be on their side than the other side.
Oh, they got an easier road than Oregon for sure,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the other thing too with this bracket. Like I like that they're rewarding the conference champs, but to make them all the top four seeds, and now you've got Arizona State and Boise State getting buys.
That's
Oof,
crazy.
that's tough. That's tough. And the way it's worked out, like Oregon has the toughest second round game
Yeah, by
by
far.
far. Like by far, they're gonna have the toughest second round game, and that's a team that hasn't lost yet. They're 13-0, won their conference, the conference that got the most spots, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
not the ACC or anything like that.
Yeah.
They like won a big conference, a hard conference, and have the toughest road. That's they need to fix that because they're playing the 7-8, but if you look at it, and you've got those two teams at leapfrog, and they're basically playing the winner of 6-7. That's not how it should work.
Yeah, and Ohio State, gun to your head, you could say is a third best team, definitely top four in the playoff.
Yeah,
So you've got Ohio State, and then if you maybe beat them, or if Tennessee upsets Ohio State, then you're like, oh great, Texas, sweet.
yeah,
Then
I
you
know.
beat Texas, it's like Georgia, sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good. I mean, and I'm a Notre Dame guy, obviously, so I don't mind the draw, right? I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
they got a puncher's chance against Georgia just because they can stop the
Yeah.
run and they can run the ball, but obviously
Oh,
when they play, if they beat Indiana and they play Georgia, they're going to be outmanned a little bit, in some areas. But
mm-hmm.
I don't mind their outlook. They could easily get to the semifinal.
Yeah, and I hate also to your point, like Penn State. I hate Penn State playing SMU and then Boise State
Yeah,
to get
that's
to
tough.
the quarterfinals. Like, come on, really? So you're
Yeah,
not going to see Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Notre Dame the whole way. That's just brutal.
no, it is. And you know what? I'd love to know that. I guess they held true to their word that they didn't kill Penn State too much for losing their conference title game because I really thought Notre Dame would jump them after they
Mm-hmm.
lost, and still don't understand like they. One loss versus two losses. Penn State is known for they're basically like the Miami Dolphins of college football. Like they look
Mm-hmm.
great until they play a good team, and then they never win. Like never.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little disappointed in that. I was hoping that Notre Dame would get into that 6th spot, but
And
so be
like
it.
Ohio State head to head beats Penn State, yet they're still 2 spots below Penn State. I guess Penn State has a
Yeah,
better record and such, but I don't know. That seems weird.
yeah. See, that doesn't make sense. But I think
Oh,
that's the committee is standing by what they said about not punishing teams that are playing in the conference title game, right? And that's they use
yeah.
that logic to keep SMU in, so it's hard to use that logic and then say, okay, Penn State,
Mm-hmm.
well now you're a 10 seed. So I
Yeah.
guess you give them credit for that,
So
but I don't agree with it.
so now we're looking at this. The semifinals. Who would be your semifinalists? Obviously Texas at the top of the bracket.
Yeah.
Then you've got to pick of Oregon, Tennessee, or Ohio State, which is again just
Yikes.
brutal.
Yikes. Yeah, that's nasty.
And
Um,
then
and then
Boise
it's going
State,
to
Penn
probably be
State.
Penn. Yeah, I'm going
Yeah.
Boise. I
Yeah.
like because and people forget they're only. I mean, yeah, they didn't play Murderers Row, but their only loss was a very very tight game to Oregon, #1 team in
Mm-hmm.
the country. So Gentry is an absolute dude.
Mm-hmm.
Gentry, whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
he's a
He is.
manimal, and so it won't surprise me to see an upset. I mean, it's Penn State, so
Mm-hmm.
like the next huge game that James Franklin wins will be the first one. So
Yeah.
I don't like him rolling through both those teams. I don't know if that's in the cards. Although I will say, I think that quarterback is a dude. That Drew Aller kid,
Oh, and Penn State. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like he's super erratic, and you can tell that he's young. But
Mm-hmm.
man, does that kid have some tools? Like he's got like Josh Allen type
Mm-hmm.
physical tools. So who knows? Like, you hope he gained some confidence after the way he played against Oregon, because even though he had a couple brain farts, he was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And man, that kid, he's got an absolute rocket launcher attached to his shoulder. Like it's impressive to watch.
Yeah. Do they have an MVP? I'm just looking through odds. Is there an MVP for? No. There should
What?
be. Like an MVP for the playoff. It
I don't know.
doesn't look
I
like it.
bet
Like I'm scrolling through.
I bet each game will have an MVP, right? Because all they become bowl games after
Mm-hmm.
the first round, right? And those bowl games always have MVPs or most outstanding players, or whatever you're gonna call it. So I bet you they'll have those, and then so whoever's the MVP of the title game.
So if I gave you, let's do a quick cutout. If I gave you $100 to put for the championship, here are the odds.
Yeah,
What are you taking? Texas and Oregon are both plus 360.
yeah,
Georgia's plus 480. Ohio State plus 500. Penn State 550. Notre Dame 850. And you can't pick Notre Dame because you're a Notre Dame homer. So we'll
yeah.
take Notre Dame out.
Oh, so it would go. I would go either um, Georgia or Ohio State,
Mm-hmm.
and ugh, Georgia just has an easier route. I think you got to go
Yeah,
there,
I think
right?
so.
I think I think that's easy. Unless you, if Ohio State could ever learn to use their players properly, like I mean, they got 2 stud running backs. They got 3 NFL receivers, like
Mm-hmm.
3 on the field at all times, and
Yeah.
they can't get on the ball. It's wild, and they don't have a young quarterback. Like they got an experienced quarterback that's been
Mm-hmm.
playing college football for 4 or 5 years now. So it's I don't know if it's him or if it's play calling or what it is, but man, if they ever start using their talent, because their defense is legit. Like
Mm-hmm.
they got 4 or 5 NFL players on defense at all times. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to say Ohio State, but I just think that the road might be too tough.
That's what I think. Just looking at it, it's like Texas, Oregon, Ohio State. How do you pick? I mean, it's a flip a coin between all three of those almost.
It
Or
really is.
Georgia, you have to beat Penn State and you're in the final. So I mean, or Boise State, and I guess Notre Dame. They could lose Notre Dame, but they
Yeah,
have the easiest road. So I think at them plus 480, I'd rather take their much easier road to the final than the other three teams.
yeah, absolutely. Because you know what, too, like that Texas team, they might be the most talented team of the bunch, but Quinn Ewers ain't it, man.
Mm-mm.
He's like they should just turn it over now to Manning. I think Ewers has shown us enough. He's not a big game quarterback. He's just he was all over the map on Saturday,
Seems like
and
there's
not
not
in a
a
good
good
way.
maybe Dylan Gabriel, but the quarterbacks aren't really that great this year. Good,
Yeah, I mean,
like
but Gabriel's a stud now, and
yeah,
as far
that's
as
what I'm
college
saying. Aside
quarterbacks
from
go,
Dylan
yeah,
Gabriel, aside from him, I
yeah,
mean Cam Ward-ish, but he's had a couple chances to have a Heisman moment. He didn't
yeah.
take them, so
I'm curious. I really am curious to see what Aller does because if he, I thought he that was the best game I've ever seen him play by far. Like he's
mhm.
usually kind of limited, young, the typical freshman, early sophomore type quarterback. But man, he looked good the other night outside of say 4 plays.
Mhm.
Yeah, but, and don't sleep on Notre Dame.
Yeah, your boys.
You betcha.
All right, I'm just looking through. So, someone's a Richard Johnston. I don't even know who that is. He's a CBS writer. He's got Notre Dame as his champs. He must,
Really?
yeah, he must be a Notre Dame homer.
Yeah, I would say.
Whatever happened to the guy that I hated, the old man who was on with the whistle?
Oh, Lou
Notre Dame.
Holtz.
Lou Holtz. He's
Lou
still
Holtz.
alive. He's still kicking.
He's still alive, but I think barely. Like, he's
Yeah.
certainly not on TV or anything anymore.
No.
He went he kind of went rogue during the whole COVID thing. I think he was a big conspiracy guy and just said a whole bunch of stuff where they're like, okay, between what you're just going on about and the fact that we can't understand you anyway, I think maybe it's time to take you off TV.
Yeah. He's definitely the Biden route. That's for sure.
Absolutely, except with crazier theories that people were just, what the fuck did this guy just say?
Was he like COVID's a hoax or is COVID believing
I
it?
think
Which
no, he was. I think he was on the hoax side, but I think it
okay,
was not the logical hoax side that you get. Like there's a
yeah,
lot. Like you actually had good reasoning for some of your takes. He was
yeah,
just like,
saying
yeah,
whatever.
he just is. This is my opportunity just to make a whole bunch of shit up, and yeah,
Yeah.
he sure did.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad he's not on TV anymore. Because I guess we can jump to this real quick. Slow news week. Not really, but who are the top five? Since we're talking announcers, or he's
Yeah.
whatever he is. Top five announcers, college and NFL. If you could, I put down my list.
Oh, okay. Announcers are like including color guys.
Yeah, including color guys.
I'm a big Aikman fan.
Okay.
Yeah, Aikman, um, Greg Olson,
Yes, I love
and
Greg Olson. Greg Olson's probably
yeah,
my favorite. He's a
yeah,
main guy, but he's not like
he's really
Troy
good.
Aikman yet. He's the
He's really
best.
good. And you know what? Like, Tommy's getting better. Like, I thought he was really good on Sunday.
Yeah.
He,
Well,
I know you don't
I
like
know.
that like him, but he also had a lot to work with, right? Like you
Yeah.
have a game like that with two quarterbacks playing unbelievable.
Hmm.
A huge coaching blunder that he jumped on right away, and you could
He
hear
did.
like the disappointment in his voice. He's like, "Oh my God, they just basically threw the game away." Like, that's the stuff that we want from him, right?
Hmm.
He was almost like he was trying too hard early in the year, and that's the stuff that we want to hear from him. Where he's like,
Hmm.
okay, this coach just absolutely blew it right here, because the rest of us are still looking at that, and he's thinking 4 plays down the road. Like
Yeah.
that's the good stuff.
No, exactly. I'll give you that.
But
Herbie,
yeah,
we got to put Herbie in
I
there.
like Herbie. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like a lot of the color guys. Like as far as the
Yeah.
play-by-play goes, I don't know. I used to love Al Michaels, but he just seems not interested anymore.
You're a little old in
Um,
the tooth.
yeah,
Gus Johnson, I like.
yeah, Gus is hilarious.
Yeah.
He's when he doesn't force it. Every once in a while, like he has just a little bit too much hot sauce on kind of on
Yeah.
his plate. But like that in the Michigan Ohio State when the big defensive end from Ohio State had the pick on the goal line, and I thought his head was going to literally pop off. It was awesome. Like it was so good. He was just screaming, and it just like most of it was just like uncomprehendable nonsense, but it was
Yeah.
fantastic. Like, yeah, I like Gus. I like Gus. I like Fowler.
Okay.
Whenever he's on, um, there's not a lot of guys I don't like. Collinsworth he needs to
Yeah.
calm the hyperbole down a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, and
That's what's interesting that makes a
yeah,
good, I think, announcer or color guy, whatever. Like they don't get annoying. Like it's funny we hear Herbie all the time, and he
yeah,
doesn't get annoying.
yes,
Like it's I feel like the Monday Night Football guys. It's not even their fault, I guess. And not
yeah,
saying this year the current Monday night, but like after 5-7 years, it's just we hear the exact same thing over and over, which I guess isn't their fault. It's probably hard to find new words to say. But yeah, Collinsworth, it's like, all right, like you're just annoying. But I think it's because after a while, you just sound repetitive over and over and over, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, we get it. Like, Chris, you don't have to tell us how good Mahomes is. You don't have to tell us how good like we know.
Yeah.
Okay, like you don't just have to go off every single time that they make a play that's a little bit unusual. But
and every player, every QB is the best quarterback ever.
No, this is the best. This is the best throw I've seen all year. Oh, it just goes bananas. Like, okay, Chris, relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know who's not good is the new crew they have on NBC. That did some of the Notre Dame games, like John Garrett and whoever the hell he was working with. Oh my God, it was painful. I turned it off one time. I just turned the volume off. I couldn't listen to it anymore.
I also like Joe
Garrett,
Buck.
Jason Garrett, sorry.
Jason Garrett.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Joe Buck, obviously, he's a legendary.
Yeah.
And then what's the Canadian dude? Quarterback.
Oh, Jesse Palmer.
Jesse Palmer, I think he's good too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I could have any pair back, and obviously Madden and Summerall were awesome, but you might be a little bit before your time to really appreciate. But Buck and Aikman, to me, they were up here. They were as good as anybody.
Yeah. Is Joe Buck one of the best announcers of all time, like of all sports?
I would think so.
Right? Because doesn't he always do
right?
Yeah.
But we're at the tail end of Al. He was amazing in his time.
Yeah.
You know, Costas was okay, but I'm Joe Buck because he was great in baseball too. A lot of people don't like him, but I've always thought Buck was fantastic.
I always thought, because I don't watch baseball, but whenever I watch baseball, I feel like I associate it with Joe Buck, like the playoffs, and I think he's always legit.
All the huge moments, like it's all been him in our kind of age group.
Yeah,
and up and coming ones, I'm like, and I don't know what it is, why he's not on more. I'm a big Louis Riddick fan. I like when he's on, like whether it be on the ESPN shows or he does, when they've got like 2 games and they got that extra announce crew, he sometimes gets those ones. I'm a big fan of his. But,
yeah, he's really good. Everything aside from his Tua takes are outstanding. So I'm a Riddick fan as well.
You always are not going to agree with anybody who has anything nice to say about Tua.
That's true. All right. Well, I also was thinking, because we obviously have this who's better right now, Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So how would you rank if you had to have any quarterbacks, 5 quarterbacks for the next 5 years, and then second 5 quarterbacks if you start a franchise right now? But we start with for the next 5 years, so like 3 to 5 years range.
3 to 5 years. Yeah, it's still going to be Allen, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar, and I'm going Herbert.
Okay.
Yep. But that's me.
So you're on Josh Allen's side over Mahomes' side?
I don't think. You know what? As much as I think he's outplaying him right now, I still don't think you can say it because until he beats the guy.
Yeah.
Right. Like in a playoff game or advances farther, I still don't. Like he's playing incredible football right now.
Yeah,
but
he is.
Like I don't know, Mahomes is just he's the king of the the king of the hill game that used to play out the lake when everyone's on the dock and you just keep push people off to the last one. Like he's still there until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
As much as everyone's saying that he's not having a great year, but fuck, the guy's got 12 wins and
he's just turns it on when he wants to. He's like, all right, let's go and win this game. Can you guys stop fucking playing around? It's my turn.
Yeah, here we go. Just keep me close until the last drive, and then we're gonna win. Okay, just give me the ball. So that's why I think you still got to take Mahomes. But I think Allen is playing better, but I just don't. Yeah, you can't put him above it.
It's almost like not as a high level yet, but like Brady Manning, where obviously Manning's passing prowess, you take Josh Allen's running and physical ability.
Yeah,
so it's definitely got similarities where Allen is beast moding in the regular season. He's great. He looks better at times. But then when it comes to snatch your life, you probably take Mahomes until Allen does it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, put it this way. If you had a drive in the Super Bowl, you got one drive to win it. You get the ball back with a minute and a half left. Who are you taking?
Yeah, Mahomes.
Right? Like that's I mean, Allen's the no-brainer MVP, and he has been for a month outside of a few announcers or talking heads that all look the same, that all,
Mm-hmm.
the Robert Griffins and all those guys that still found a way to say that it was Mahomes or Lamar, but
Yeah.
it's been Allen for a long time. And but I think if you're saying like starting a franchise,
That's what I'm
so
looking
looking
at.
further down the
Yeah.
road, I'm keeping Burrow. Well, let's say 8 years. So you say you don't include Mahomes.
Okay. Well, no.
But
So
even
it's
at that, like, why would you not still? Why would you not still take him?
yeah. So if you had to start a franchise right now, listeners, this is
Yeah,
what we're doing. Start a franchise right now.
yeah,
5 quarterbacks who are the top 5, and I was gonna say no Mahomes, just like you're kind of going, and not Allen.
yeah.
But how old do you think both are?
Oh, they're what, 27?
Oh no, no. Mahomes is 29. He just turned 29 in September,
Yeah,
and Allen is 28, which is still
yeah. So I don't
youngerish
think
than I
my list
thought.
changes, other
Yeah.
than where do I fit Drake May in? But that's just me,
That's
because
just
I
you.
think the kids is going to be that good. But I don't think my list really, like, if you're looking, say now you're
Mm.
looking 8 years down the road. Shoot, I don't. Sure, fine. Mahomes in 8 years is going to be 37, and that might be too old. But in between that time, he
Yeah.
might have won me two more Super Bowls. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, I don't know.
I think
I don't
I may take whoever your fifth was. I think I put Jordan Love in there.
love over Herbert.
Yeah, which I mean interchangeable.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But I don't. I've just got
Yeah,
a
you
soft
love
spot for
Herbie.
Herbert. God, like
Yeah.
some of the throws that dude makes is just blows my mind. Makes it look so easy too, and it sucks because I've always, and this, I'm always been more about, okay, winning and doing it in the playoffs and everything else like that,
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't yet, but he's also kind of been behind the 8 ball compared to some of these other teams.
Yeah.
Is these situations with the teams that he's had. So I don't know. I think this year, I certainly wouldn't want to play them in the first round of the playoffs. Like,
Yeah, I
the
was looking at
defense
the
is
playoff.
is a little bit nasty, and if he gets Ladd back, and he's going to get the running back. Shoot,
Mm-hmm.
what's his name? The guy that's always injured.
Yeah.
Um,
Double J.K. Dobbins.
Dobbins. Yeah, Dobbins. Like, if they can be healthy going into the playoffs, I think KC certainly doesn't want any of that again,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know that anyone does. I think that's a scary, scary first round matchup.
Yeah, so it looks the Chiefs pretty much are locked into one because they're 12-1. Bills are 10-3.
Yeah,
So Bills would play Broncos, Steelers, Chargers, Texans, Ravens
yeah,
with how it is right now.
yeah. So it's a battle for that 5 seed. Or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right. Just like the college, that 5 seed is the one you want, because they're given the division winners all get the top 4 seeds, and Texas is just not. Texans aren't looking the same as the other, as 5 teams for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be the interesting spot that you see teams battling for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was gonna say, so I've been on the Steelers a lot the past few weeks. I'm just pulling up my. I think we talked about who your top 5 teams are to win. I'm gonna go through my
Yeah,
top 5, and I came up with reasoning behind it. I'll try not to take too long. The 5 teams I think can win the Super Bowl. Here
yeah.
are the first 3 out. The first 3 that I don't think can
Hmm.
win are the Lions, the
Okay.
Ravens, and the Vikings out of the top 8 teams. And I realize what it is about Detroit. I think you have to be able to play from in front, which they do obviously better than anyone, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they can play from behind against an elite team. So I'm a little worried about that. Dan Campbell, which is crazy because he's the coach of the year. But even was it on Thursday, they're like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but you don't have to. You don't have to die, but you can shoot a crossbow and injure the guy, punt or a field goal. You
Yeah.
don't have to go and live and die by the sword. You can.
All the time.
It's
You
just.
do if you're him. You do if you're him, because, like, watch his post game meetings and everything. Like,
Yeah.
that's what he's instilling into his team. So if he's acting like that, and he's telling them, like, they're just the best and they're going to bully people and they don't back down, then he can't. He has to coach like that, or he doesn't have any credibility. And
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
just as some like it almost backfired him when they went for a fourth down the second to last time where they didn't get it,
yeah,
and then they did it this time, and you've already seen it happen in the playoffs. And I think like just one game, okay, do it, but there's no way the 3 or 4 games he's going to need to win the Super Bowl it's going to work every single time. Just like I think the tush push, when they're going to need it, it's going to run out one of these times.
Yeah.
With the Eagles, but so that's it. I just think
Speaking
coaching.
of, like, how great would it, like, what happens if it's Eagles and Lions? Like, do those two coaches just get together and be like, okay, you know what? Here's the deal. You don't dress your punter, I won't dress my punter, and let's just go. Because
I like it.
People are going to be on us for making dumb decisions anyway, so let's just take that out of it. We're just going.
Exactly.
We're just playing Madden ball. Like, something like that has to happen, because with those two, I mean, at least with Campbell, he's, like I said, he's just saying, okay, hey, I need to do this because this is who we are around Sirianni. It's just like, sometimes I'm going to go for it, sometimes I'm not. Who knows? I'm not going to think about why I'm doing it. It's just basically going to be like a coin flip on the sidelines. So like, seeing them head to head is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and I have the Eagles in, but just barely. And the only reason is because injuries. I think without the injuries, I probably put Detroit ahead of the Eagles. And then also the quarterback play, I think where they're equal-ish. Obviously, Goff's maybe a bit better passer. Hurts is a better rusher. But Hurts also has, fourth and short. They're unstoppable. Goff doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Goff, for some reason, I've seen him throw some weird picks throughout the season where, not to say Hurts doesn't throw bad decisions or picks or anything like that, but I don't know. I would take Hurts over Goff just slightly because of the 4th and inches, 4th and 1. Coach Dan Campbell, which is a push to Sirianni. He's probably better than Sirianni. But I think mostly the injuries. So that's why Detroit's out for me. Baltimore, we've talked tons on this podcast about just their pass defense is absolutely terrible. They're third right now. They're the second most pass yards per game against.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Like, I don't have stats to back this up, but has like a team ever won the Super Bowl with 5th worst or 10th worst passing yards against?
Who knows?
I feel like that's maybe a Peyton Manning team. He's pulled it together somehow, but I doubt it.
Well, because, I mean, if you have that many passing yards, if teams always thrown against you, that means they're playing catch up. So I think there probably has been a couple of good teams that have that.
Yeah. And then kicking, I think, like I've said in this podcast a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Tucker's got the yips. He's kind of done. Lamar against elite defenses, I just don't. I think once the field shrinks, I know you're always on this too, his passing ability. I just don't know if it's there. I would take Allen and Mahomes over him. And then Derrick Henry, less explosive plays over the last 3-4 weeks. Is he slowing down? He's obviously older. Tons of punishment on him. He also delivers a bunch of punishment. So Ravens are out for me, and then the Vikings are out until Darnold proves it, which leaves Chiefs. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as I say, so like you're saying these are 3 of the 5 teams. So you're saying there's 5 teams above these ones.
Correct. Those are the first 3 out. Sorry.
Okay, I thought you were saying like these are 5 teams, but like these 3 can't do it. I was like, Jesus, there's only 2 teams left.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I've got the Chiefs, Bills, which easy peasy. Then I go Pittsburgh, Eagles, Packers. Eagles we talked about. I just put them over the Lions just slightly because of those reasons.
Yeah.
Packers, I had them from the start as my breakout team. So I mean, Jordan Love, I just think he has a bit more. He can be more dynamic than Jared Goff, if that makes sense. So
he can make more mistakes too, though.
Yeah, true. I love their coach much more, and then their defense is playing much better and less injuries. So that's why I have them there. But the Steelers, I'm just all in on the Steelers. I almost want to, if I didn't have bets on the Super Bowl already, they have the best defense, great coach. They can run the ball very well. And I think Russ isn't scared like other teams might be of the Mahomes Allen combo. So.
No, God, no. The only thing against the Steelers is, I mean, Pickens' health is a big one. And when he's there, does he fly off the handle and take 2 15-yard penalties a game?
Right.
Like, and then they don't really have anything else behind him. Freiermuth's their second best weapon.
Yeah.
I think I'm curious to there's no way to get an answer to this, but I'm wondering how much of putting Vikings behind Packers is just you not wanting to like pump your team up too much, because I think that's what you're doing. I think you're doing the whole if I
Emotional
just
hedge.
let them, my emotional hedge. If I just keep pushing them down, then anything they do is going to surprise me. Where if I have to say that they're a contender, then I won't be like, see, I fucking told you guys this was going to happen. So I like because God, like what more do the Vikings where the Steelers were 2 weeks ago? We said how much more do these guys have to do
Mhm.
before we're going to give them some credit? Like they got 2 losses.
Yeah. But also,
And
Darnold had a real shitty game. What, 2 games ago, 3 games ago? He had a couple stinkers in a row, a few stinkers in a row.
yeah, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks, but
Hmm.
man, like they're starting
Yeah.
to just to show there that receiver combo is filthy. That
Outrageous.
that Addison kid is so good, and we're at the point now where Hawkinson's back, but he's barely even factored into things. So what
Hmm.
happens if they, if you do play a team that figures out some sort of master plan for those two receivers, Hawkinson's going to go wild.
Yeah. And then
So
2 good running backs, one stud running
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Um, I'm glad we talked about that. So where do the Vikings go? Go a little Vikings corner.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. What do they do
This is
next
good.
year?
Well, it's
My
your teams.
thoughts.
You go
All right.
first.
All right. So I think you keep them. You sign them. Hopefully, you get a team friendly contract like a Baker Mayfield or a Geno Smith
Yeah.
contract. That's the ideal role. Because then you got JJ cheap, and then I think you either, depending on how next year starts to go, you shop JJ for hopefully you can get a first for someone really greedy or a second.
Hmm.
Because I mean, if Darnold's playing rallies, he's got the pedigree, he's on a team friendly ish contract, or you can franchise tag him. I think right instead of if he wants a giant contract, you're like, all right, we're franchise tagging you, and
Yeah.
then you try and trade him or JJ next season. So that's where I'd go. And I mean, you got
Mhm.
JJ for free. I mean, not for free, but cheap.
Yeah.
That's what you want. So you can pay a quarterback pretty good money, uh, and yeah, go from there.
So I think I'm close to you. I think you absolutely sign Darnold, and
Mm.
you just pay him. Like you said, hopefully you get him a discount. He realizes that, hey, this is the situation for me. This system
Yeah.
with KOC is where I need to be to thrive. I don't need to break the bank. I need to get
Mm.
paid, but I don't need to get to break the bank. And a legit contract, not the 2 year, like a 5 year
Mm.
deal, and then you trade JJ
Yeah.
because there's going to be 6 or 7 teams this year that absolutely have to get a quarterback, and
Yeah.
there's like 2, maybe 3 in the draft that are going to go in the first round. Right? If Aller comes out, I think there's 3,
Mm.
and if he doesn't, there's 2. So you're not gonna recoup a top 10 pick, but shoot,
Mm.
even if you got like a pick at the top of the second round, right,
Yeah.
and then maybe a third next year or a fourth, whatever.
Mm.
Because if you're a team like the Giants or the Raiders or all these teams that are going to need a quarterback, and there's only so many options, why wouldn't you take a flyer on him? And
Mm.
and if you're the Vikings, I get sitting them and keeping on to him because it's cheap, but damn, like you could really, really, your window's there now. If you really believe that Darnold's the guy, and it's hard
Mm.
not to, and your window's there now, go and get something for that kid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you can all of a sudden boost up a next year draft pick, but if you
Yeah,
can't get next year draft pick, like an upcoming draft story, I guess you keep him for till midseason, try and get as
yeah.
much as
See
you
what
can from
happens.
him.
See what
Yeah.
happens. But I would. That's 100% the route I would take if I was them.
Mm. Yeah. Well, perfect. We're aligned there.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
On that note, too,
Ooh.
I'm also a bold take. If Drew Aller comes out in the draft, he goes ahead of the other 2.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Should.
kid has serious talent.
Yeah.
I certainly goes ahead of Ward, and him and Shadur I think would be very, very close.
I really hope Shadur and his dad go to the Raiders. Just that'd be the most fun thing to happen. Because no one cares about the Raiders, anyways. Now you
Yeah,
at least have a team to either hate against, most likely some would root for, but it'd be
yeah,
fun regardless.
yeah. I mean, in Vegas, but is it the sure thing? I like when you see some of these kids that are signing with Colorado, they must have some sort of assurances from Prime that he's staying.
Yeah.
Like they just got the top quarterback coming out of high school or second or whatever ranking you're going to go by. He's top 2 or
Yeah.
3. like you got to think that he's not going to sign there unless he knows that Deion's coming back.
Yeah, I guess.
Unless
But
the
I mean,
money's
how
just too
often?
good.
Yeah, and how often do we see coaches not care and just, all right, see you later, and skip town?
Well, I don't think it's a care thing. I think
Hmm.
it's the kid. You would hope that him and his representatives did some due diligence before signing there.
Yeah.
Hey man, is there any chance that you're going? Like,
Hmm.
you know,
Well, could he just leave, or does he like? When is the last a player can leave to still be eligible for the current season?
oh, that's a good question. That's a good
Yeah, I
question.
wonder.
I want to say it certainly can't be in like, you can't just decide in July that he's
Yeah.
going to transfer schools and play. He'd have to sit a year. So
Hmm.
I don't know
Yeah, I
what the
wonder when
date
it
is.
is.
That's a good question. But so I don't
Um.
think they're both going. I don't. I'm not sold that Deion's going to the NFL because I'm not sure he's ready for it. I
Yeah, I
like
mean,
you
he's not
watch
really
their
a good,
games.
good coach.
No, no. So I think it's just gonna be one. You know, obviously maybe he wants his other kid to get drafted, but yeah,
Yeah.
he'd be a fringe
Spe-
player.
Speaking of coaches, right in your wheelhouse,
Yeah.
what do you think about Bill to
Oh,
potentially North Carolina? Do you like it? Hate it?
I mean, I actually love it because
Yeah.
I think that it's just people have seen a different side of him. Everyone, all they ever saw, if you weren't a Patriots fan, all you ever saw was his gruff news conferences and and all that kind of stuff. But now people are seeing his personality and seeing like he is pretty engaging and he's just so smart that
Hmm.
the idea that he wants to go there instead of chasing, coming back to the NFL basically tells me he's like, I don't give a shit about the records. I want to go and coach football and maybe, coaching college football is something he's always wanted to do. And like,
Yeah.
obviously he has such a connection with, he had such a connection with his dad through coaching, and his dad was an assistant coach at North Carolina back in the day
Hmm.
when Bill was a kid. And I think it's cool as hell. I don't know how it's going to work with him with the whole NIL transfer portal,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, I don't know how someone like him deals with that shit, but
Does he
I
just have
mean,
a general manager? I assume like they just have a good general manager who just
he must.
mostly handles it.
He must. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is college football not just basically following the NFL now,
Hmm.
right? It's basically free agency all the time.
Yeah.
It's doing contracts. It's, NIL contracts instead of money contracts. So I don't think it's that much different. I think if he can find someone to do that part of it, like he's going to mollywop some of these coaches when it comes to strategy and games. Like if he
Yeah.
has half the talent as these teams, he's going to beat the hell out of these college coaches.
And I'm gonna skip over using the term mollywop, but
Is that a bad one?
I don't know. It just seems like you're 80 years old with Bill Belichick.
Oh, that's a good one, I thought.
Yeah. It's good. It's like bringing it back.
Yeah.
We start saying like, "Hey, see," and that kind of stuff on the
Hey,
podcast.
see, I love it. Oh, oh man,
um,
I'm going to use
but
mollywop again before this is over.
perfect. I also think he's probably a coach too, where he doesn't need to get into too much of those weeds. Where UNC isn't Texas or Alabama, so it's not like
No.
he's expected to win. He lives in Chapel Hill, nice place. Likes to boat. I think Chapel Hill is kind of close-ish to the water,
Yeah.
right? And he just says, if you want to come and be one of the best coaches ever, cool. If not,
Yeah.
I really don't give a fuck. See you later.
Yeah. But then how great is that for if you're the recruiting coordinator?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh, hey, kid, do you want to go and play for Jimbo or like one of these other scrub coaches? You want to play for the best coach in football history?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
who's gonna deal? Teach you how you need to work to get into the NFL. Do you want that?
Hmm.
All right. If you don't, then because there's been a bunch of people saying, "Oh, he's not gonna want to be hitting the pavement, recruiting, doing all that shit." It's like, no, he doesn't. The main head coaches don't make that many trips anymore, do they? Like,
I'm sure
was Nick
Mac
Saban
Brown wasn't, right?
right?
Like Mac Brown
Was
was
Nick Saban
100 years
knocking
old.
on doors? Like, they got
Hmm.
coordinators for that, and then they'll touch base with these kids.
Yeah.
So I think it's fantastic. I think if he does, I think they win the ACC not next year, but the year after. Like I just
Hmm.
think that he'll have such a strategic advantage on college coaches. It won't even be funny if he has half the talent they do. He's gonna put in some meetings. It's gonna be great.
And then the second follow-up question: does North Carolina now become your second favorite college football team? Maisie's or Maisie's little
well,
school.
well, that's You bring up an interesting point. Bring up an interesting point. and the home of
Has to
Michael
be.
Jordan, right?
Yeah,
Greatest
your
basketball
boy.
player ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you love it.
yeah, you might be on something. And
UNC.
I am big on Carolina blue too.
I was gonna say next podcast you'll be all blued out.
He's just totally decked out in Carolina blue.
No more
Yeah,
black and gray. It'll be Carolina
yeah,
baby blue.
for sure. It makes my eyes pop.
Yeah, backwards hats and stuff. It'll be sweet.
Yeah, yeah. Those headbands. Don't they have sweet blue headbands?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. You
maybe
bring a valid point. That's actually
start
something worth considering.
starter jacket. It'll be awesome. um, well, what else? I want to go maybe a recap of the last week's games. Packers Lions,
Yeah,
a great, incredible game.
such a
Although,
good game.
do the Packers win that if it's in Green Bay?
No, I mean, shoot, the Packers were one play here or
Yeah,
there away from winning it there. So why not?
exactly. Right.
Like it was just a good football game, and I think you give the Lions credit for winning it, and you give the Packers credit for being in there, and they just didn't make enough plays to win it. But
Hmm.
I don't think that there's any shame in that loss at all, other than someone has to win and someone has to lose. But it was.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about the Packers that scares me, and I'm with you, I'm a big Love fan. I think he's really good. But they have depth all over the place at receiver, and they have a lot of targets, but they don't have that guy. Like when, like you said, the Detroit or the Philly tush push is almost inevitable. Well, shoot, when it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and you really need it, Amon Ross St. Brown is open. That's the one thing I think Detroit's missing, or the Green Bay's missing, is he's so clutch, and he's just a true number one. And I think he was quiet all game. You looked at it at halftime and you're like, Jesus, this guy's got like 26 yards. They're doing a nice job with him. And then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter he makes like 3 huge catches, and I think that was the difference between those two teams.
Yeah. Is he where is he got to do wide receiver rankings? I actually meant to talk about this. Who are the top 5? You have to pick a wide receiver right now for your franchise. What's your list?
Well, after last night, I mean, I always think that Chase and JJ and Jefferson are like neck and neck. I mean, after last night, yeah, sure. I mean, they're 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Chase, JJ. Amon has got to be in the top 5.
Yeah. Because he also blocks a lot more, right? Like everyone's a fan about he's the best team player, wide receiver.
Yeah. If AJ Brown had a quarterback, according to him, he'd probably be up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Did he actually say that? Those were his words? No.
They asked him, what do you guys need to do to improve things on offense? And he's like, passing. That was his exact answer. Yeah, he's not happy because the guy he's not getting any targets. But it's kind of one of those things where, dude, you're winning. You're 12-2 or 11-2 or whatever it is. They can't be bitching about not getting the ball enough when you're winning going that much. So, you'd probably still have AJ in the top 5, but that wasn't a great answer. CeeDee Lamb, is he top 5?
I guess so. He's been doing it.
I think he's still pretty good, right? Like he doesn't have a quarterback, but so I think that would probably be it. I don't know who I missed out on.
Yeah,
I feel about Tariq, so he's not going to be in there.
And he's 30. He's on his tail end now, anyways.
Yeah.
You could put, but I read this at the start of the year, and this is why I didn't. I had I had Puka on I had him on a do not draft list. I guess he's never been healthy for ever in his entire career, which I guess that's probably why I slipped up and I said Tua, because it's the same thing. But I guess Puka in college has had a ton of injuries, and so. But without the injuries, the dude is just outrageous.
Oh, if you're going right now, top 5, he's top 5. I would put him in over CD or AJ.
Yeah. Jamar is just, last night, I texted this to you.
Insane.
It was like he steps on the Mario Kart, little arrows. All of a sudden, he's beside a guy, and then the ball's thrown, and he's like, boop, and he's just
gone.
Darts. It's outrageous. He looks faster than Tyreek Hill. It's so crazy how fast he is.
And he's built like a linebacker. He's enormous. He just looks so big out there compared to those DBs, and moves like that. It's wild. So I think you gotta. I'm a huge Justin Jefferson fan. You know that obviously, but the way Chase has been playing lately, I mean, he's gonna eclipse that contract now. He just has to.
Yeah, he looks so fast. He's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, Justin Jefferson is like the weirdest great receiver. Him and Jerry Rice is just I guess Jerry Rice at that time was a freak. Like
yeah,
like now, like I don't know, Jefferson just looks like I don't know. He doesn't look like the fastest guy. He doesn't look like the most jack
no,
guy. But
yeah, he's not the tallest. Did you
yeah,
see the clip, by the way, of his long touchdown? What the one DB was doing?
no,
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. It's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. Like he literally ends up turning the wrong way, and then he kind of like falls down, but he's going towards the cone as JJ catches it, and he scores in the middle of the end zone. It's like you
yeah.
don't notice it because he's so far out of the picture, but it's
Uh,
bad. Like he cannot go to film study this week. Like it's awful. I'll find it. You are gonna seriously laugh out loud when you watch it.
yeah, he's like so. Yeah, I think he's not Jerry Rice is Jerry Rice, but he's just kind of in that mold of just his route running, and I don't know, he's crazy. Because
Yeah,
I look at
well, he's
Jamar
a
Chase,
technician.
I'm like Jamar Chase is way better than not way better than Justin Jefferson, but just like physically. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
CD, I guess, kind of like that too. He's not really he just runs really great routes. It's so smooth,
but
gets
even
open,
CD,
makes.
like he looks bigger than JJ on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the size comparison is, but he looks at least just a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
Um, but JJ with him, when he jumps up for a ball, it's like he's just floating there waiting for it to come down to him.
yeah, it's weird.
Like he's just such a freak athlete.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah, but I guess Jamar is going to eclipse that. Does he do this year? Yeah,
Yeah. Well, no,
that'll be
he might
huge.
still have another year, like because
Yeah.
his holdout was early,
Mm-hmm.
but they're gonna have to do something because now T Higgins is gonna come off the books, so they
Mm-hmm.
really aren't gonna have any excuse to not pay him, other
Yeah,
than
like who are
they're the
they're just
Bengals.
paying Joe Burrow and that's it.
Yeah, like you can pay him as much as you pay your whole defense, the way your defense has been playing.
Mm. I was gonna recap like some of the last week's games, and as I scrolled through, I didn't watch this game or give one shit about the team. Can you guess what the Saints? Can you guess what the Saints Giants score was just off the top of your head? Do you even know?
Wasn't it like a 13-11 or something?
Yeah, 14-11. Yeah,
14-11, and the Giants had a field goal blocked at the end.
yeah. Just like,
Yeah,
oh, that happened this weekend. I had no idea.
and the guy on the Giants line who allowed the field goal block probably got a raise because the front office was just like,
Yeah,
whoa, let's not hit this field goal. What are we doing here?
yeah.
Like, so he probably got a nice little cash envelope in his locker.
Sure did. I guess we skipped to the best game of the week. Arguably, I don't know. I still think Packers Lions was better, but
Yeah.
Bills Rams
Oh, yeah, that
was
was
just
unbelievable football until Dayball blew it with that play call. That
well.
was
And I was
tough.
gonna say like we talked about this weeks ago, but Andy Reid being just the silent genius that like he doesn't make this mistake, right? Like
No,
he's just that's what's so weird. Like people
yeah,
forget the Chiefs are winning these games because Andy Reid doesn't seem to make mistakes, especially
yeah,
these ones.
I know. I said Dayball too, by the way. That was a
Yeah,
faux pas, but
we're
whatever.
talking Giants. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mc,
You know what
Mc,
though? Years ago, before Mahomes, and even really, I guess, before his Chiefs stint, Andy Reid would have made blunders like this.
yeah,
He
he would
was
have.
known for his clock management blunders, and now it's the opposite. Like so it's something you just learn, I guess,
Yeah,
and you hope you kind of grow into it and leave those mistakes behind. He clearly has. It
yeah,
helps that he has Mahomes, but still, he's still pushing the right buttons.
yeah.
But that game was
Uh,
awesome. That was like everyone for Josh and his 3-3, 3 running, 3 passing touchdowns. Stafford was incredible.
yeah,
Stafford was so good in that game, and is obviously has two fantastic, all pro type receivers, but he was putting the ball in just absolutely incredible spots through tight windows. Like you knew that they weren't going to stop Josh, but they couldn't stop the Rams either. So
no,
yeah, no, that game impressed the hell out of me.
yeah. Stafford
The
was
Rams are
blinking.
dangerous. Yeah,
They are. Well, now that whole division could just come on. Like I guess they got to play each other a couple times still, but
yeah,
the Niners shit kicked. The Seahawks are looking good. The
yeah,
Rams obviously beat what many thought was the best team in football up
yeah.
until now. Was the Bills' defense, is that just one off, or is this something to be worried about?
Well, I think like, they score so much that I think their defense gets hidden. I really don't think it's that great. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good enough. But that's that's a long trip, right? Like going way out to the West Coast like that, and going against arguably the top two or three offensive play callers in football, and Hall of Fame quarterback and two stud receivers. They're going to do that to a lot of people. So um, I don't know. I think they're a mediocre defense that just got exposed on a Sunday,
Yeah.
and that's going to happen. We didn't think they were a top five defense coming into it, did we? I
No.
didn't.
No,
So
I think like middle of the pack, but I mean
yeah,
that's a lot of points to give up for
that's a lot of points to
a
give
Super
up.
Bowl contending team.
Yeah, that's a lot of points to give up. Ah,
Like would the Chiefs give up more than 30 points in a game? I don't think so, let
no, I
alone
don't think
40,
they have, and
44.
they've done it
Yeah.
once in like the last 30 games.
Yeah. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So, but you were talking about the NFC West.
Yeah.
Uh, don't look
I'm gonna
now,
look
but
at
Seattle's schedule is no bueno the rest of the way.
no.
They got
I remember that
Packers
when
right this
Mhm.
week. I'll be there. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Uh, Vikings after that, and then they get a
Mhm.
decent. I think it's like the Bears or something, and then finish off at the Rams, which could be
Ooh.
for the division. Right, if
Mhm.
they drop even one more and the Rams keep winning, that could be for the division. So, and San Fran's not out of it. San Fran is only a game back
Yeah.
of the Rams, and they beat Seattle twice. So, you know,
And
and they
they've
play the
got
Rams this week, I believe.
yeah, they got the Rams, then they're in Miami, then they got the Lions, then they have the Cardinals. So I mean, the Lions game is a tough one. Dolphins could be ish.
So the Niners
Yeah.
say you're going 3-1. Where does that put them? Nine and then
Yeah.
9-8.
Yeah, so I guess they need the Seahawks to kind of shit the bed a little bit, which isn't
Yeah,
impossible. Yeah.
yeah, that doing
Yeah.
inside. Arizona's fallen off, but
Mhm.
I think that was expected. They were,
Yeah.
they're kind of playing their limit. They're still battling, but they got limited personnel.
Yeah. All right, I think that was all the good games to cover from last week. Vikings rolled. Kirk Cousins to be expected.
Yeah,
Jags.
Philly
What are the?
dodged a bullet. Did you see that play
Yes.
that the Leggett kid dropped?
Oh, I had a loser of the week. I mean, you hate to be hard
Yeah,
on Leggett, but poor Leggett dropping that ball. Poor Bryce Leggett dropping
poor
that ball.
Bryce. You know what though? Was that a drop? He was diving, and I
Hmm.
mean, it would have been an unreal catch. I have a hard time calling that a drop. It's tough,
Yeah, that's
but that
true.
would have been a hell of a catch. But damn, like he pulls that off. God, can you imagine the chaos in Philly if they lost to the Panthers?
Mm-hmm.
Be awesome. There's tons of drama. Like you got AJ Brown, and then you got players Brandon Graham who just went on the IR is basically
Saying
spitting nuggets and
he retracted it, but obviously that was too late. You can't say it.
yeah, a little late.
Speaking,
So
I'll say my bet of the week before we get because it involves AJ Brown. Um, Jared Campbell, who fun guest on the podcast, great guest on the podcast.
yeah,
He talked like this genius sports better guy. Two good nuggets, but one was basically always bet the over on any wide receiver that's having this sort of drama because they're always going to
yes,
feed him like a
oh
million
yeah,
throws.
absolutely,
So my bet of the
absolutely.
week is I think it's the cover because the Steelers the cover because I think the line is ridiculous. Steelers
It is.
cover, but Hurts and AJ go over their yards because there's all this. Oh, they can't do it. It's even gotten crazier. 5-point favorites for the Eagles. Oh, I'm like,
Jesus.
I may make the bet. My bet of the week, my parlay of the week is Steelers cover, and then AJ and Hurts over their passing and receiving yards. Then my
Well,
just
slow
straight
down.
up.
Maybe go AJ over. Don't go Hurts over too.
I think Hurts will want to be like, I can throw. Watch this shit. We're back. They're hugging all that shit.
Yeah. You know what though? I will give Hurts credit. I don't know that he. I don't think that stuff gets to him. I think he's just like, oh well, I
Yeah,
guess you're gonna be mad, but we're still winning games, so I don't give a shit.
yeah, exactly. I think bet of the week is just Steelers straight up money line. I assume I don't have that odds in front of me, but it's probably
Like
175, 225.
it's got to be good. That's a lot of
Yeah,
points, man. Wow.
isn't that crazy? I don't understand that line at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomlin. Yeah, that'll be a good one to watch. It'll
Yeah.
be not great for fantasy playoffs though. When I've got Saquon in one league and AJ Brown in the other, it's tough. Not like
Yeah.
that.
No,
But
I've got the Hertz first place the entire year, ran the gamut until this last game when I had
yeah,
Mixon and Sutton out on buys, 16-week team, 16-team league, and then and then this week I've got both of them, AJ and Hertz against the Steelers. So
ugh. We got in our big one. We changed it up a couple years ago where 8 teams make the playoffs out of 16, and so we do by record and tiebreakers and all that for the top 7, and then the 8 team is most points out of the remaining 9, regardless of what your
ooh,
record is.
I like that.
Uh, and But it sucks when you're the 1 seed because you're playing a team that has like the most points in the second most points in the league is and our league is known for the 1 seed losing round 1. So
Yeah.
I'm not too happy about it. I finished first overall. Now I got to play Miller, who was in a huge battle. Right down to the end, he had Chase and Peds had Chase Brown and
Okay.
the kicker, and he had like a 2 point lead at the start of that last drive, and then Jamar Chase got that 40-yard
Huge.
touchdown,
Yeah.
huge, and Peds is out. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's interesting because I like the idea of doing that for the 8th place spot because fantasy can be such a kick in the shorts when you score
Yeah.
150 and lose. But now that I have to play that person, I think we might push to change that next year. Because I look at some of the other teams that made it, I'm like, these teams are shits. I can beat these teams.
Yeah.
But
Do you guys still do the regular season champ gets money?
division champs, we do 2 divisions, and each champ,
Uh,
yeah. So I got my money back. Whatever. But
Yeah, we do the $800 to the winner of the regular season, and I was down to Brandon Cooks because Cortland Sutton's out.
oh right, yeah, you told me that.
Oh my god! And I had to watch him. I needed 9 points, and I probably needed 10 points. So a touchdown and 40 yards, and I was like, "This isn't going to happen." And then I
No,
was forced to watch this terrible game the entire time. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the
right.
worst way to end a regular season for $800. I have to try and see if Brandon Cooks is
Yeah,
going to get 9 points in the worst game of the week.
better than my
Stupid.
guillotine beatdown. At least I knew early. Like
Yeah.
it was me and 2 other teams, and I had a 2 point lead on one, and I had Higgins and he had Burrow, so I was kind of figured I was fucked there. And then the other one,
Yeah.
I had a 9 point lead, and he had Chase and Aubrey, and I had
Yeah.
Higgins, and I'm just like, oh, well, guess the drama
Yeah.
got taken out of that one pretty early.
Yeah. Higgins didn't even put up a fight. It's like, all right, maybe get a couple
No, he doesn't
catches.
throw to him.
No.
But
Well, before we get to picks, one quick Yellowstone. Well, two
ugh,
Yellowstone things. I mean, just kind of. I think us as people, we just expect the last season to be great. Like it's like, oh, there's a bunch of filler in this final season, blah blah blah.
yeah,
Or it's like, I don't know, every season is just kind of there's lulls of. So I don't. I think we always have high expectations for a final season when really we
really we
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
Just be
We
yeah,
should. The Game of Thrones last season was
exactly.
garbage. This season,
Hmm.
like it's at the point now with Yellowstone where I'm literally looking at the clock, waiting for it to be over, and because I know only watching it just to see how it ends because we've invested this many episodes. Not
Hmm.
interested in it all. That episode was fucking garbage. They're just forcing so much stuff. It's like,
Hmm.
all right, it's cool. Like yeah, Teeter and the other dude Colby, they were a nice couple, but they just became a couple like 2 episodes before the break.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
it's like now he's in the ring, his horse is in the ring the same time as John Dutton's for their little ceremony. What are we doing? Like, come on.
They could have spread
And
those deaths out a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, it's just I mean, Rip is now been basically reduced to just like casually work on the farm and then sitting in this beautiful living room over beside a fire having cocktails every night. Like he hasn't beat the shit out of anybody this season.
No.
Like fuck, what are we doing?
Yeah. Speaking of him beating the shit and Rip, I've got a loser, and the guy is obviously a genius, but I think all
Yeah.
geniuses are egomaniacs. Taylor Sheridan, I just can't.
The biggest
Everything he
egomaniac.
touches is
Yeah.
incredible, but yeah, he's just. This is why I love people like Brad Pitt. Like I think Brad Pitt is hung, where I think Taylor is
Yeah.
not. He's just like a little steroid egomaniac. Where like
Yeah.
Brad Pitt makes fun of himself in roles. He has a good time. Whereas like Sheridan's writing himself into this bullshit. That ruined the entire episode for me. He's like, oh, well, we're gonna make sure that I'm rich and that Rip, the most respected person in television right now, character, is like, oh yeah, this guy saved me in a bar, and then he went in and he got his hat. And he's like, that's my hat, and then he got my hat too. And I'm like, really, dude? Like,
I
you
know
don't
that was tough to take. That was seriously tough to take.
So I can't stand you, Taylor Sheridan. You're a chump. You're not. You're a genius, but
You're awesome.
But that was brutal. And he did the same thing. And go ahead.
It sucks because his character has been great throughout the show. Like I love how snippy he is, and this way he's been lipping people, but yeah, that was a bit much. Like he's literally got everything. You know, they're in front of this big, huge building that looks like a fucking mansion, and she's like, oh, "Where's the boss?" Like, "Oh, he's at the main house." It's like, okay,
yeah.
And then the girlfriend is ridiculous. Like,
and he's got other girls naked everywhere. And then he got Beth almost naked, which is like, no way. What?
That was funny. That
made no sense.
Yeah, but it's kind of.
She wasn't. I think she kills him, right? Like she's not actually going to strip her clothes off. That makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, the whole show, this whole season makes zero sense. The only thing left is like, what happens now? So obviously Casey has a plan. He's just going to give it away to save all the tax implications. Who do you think it's going to be? I got a theory.
Well, I think Tate, because Tate's partially Native American, he's half.
Yeah.
They give it to the tribe, and in some roundabout way, it ends up being Tate's through the tribe, and then they keep everything.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Somehow the nation is going to be involved. But I got a question, and then maybe this will be a better question for next week. Casey just came up with this fucking bold idea. Hey, could you maybe have told your sister about this one before you fucking sold everything?
Yeah, that's true. You could have done that.
Could we have done this yesterday? This idea didn't just pop into your head while you were watching us sell literally every asset. It's all gone.
It's all gone.
And now you have this idea that has her chasing after the truck. You couldn't you couldn't have said this yesterday. We still had everything.
We had all the horses. Yeah, 300 cows.
I literally was just like this. I'm like, fuck, why do I watch this show? I was so annoyed.
Yeah,
it was so bad. Like, come on. I mean, I guess it's for the good of the show. I don't know, but it's gone away from anything close to even Yellowstone reality.
Yeah, that's why I think they got to just throw a crazy zag, kill off Beth, maybe kill Tate. Like, let's get something wild.
You really want Tate gone. You made your feelings about his pretty clear.
Exactly. Yeah. All right.
And hold on, one more thing on the episode too. Ooh. Like, so we've got this auction, and there's a dance going on, and there's cowgirls everywhere, and then all of a sudden there's Tate and the little homeless kid just over there practicing throwing their fucking rope at the fake bull.
Yeah.
As if those kids aren't chasing some tail in the crowd. Let's go here.
Yeah, it is a little weak.
Cowboys, they're dedicated, yada yada yada. There'd be so many chicks that are their age that they wouldn't be just sitting there, just But it's dark. Like they'd have to do that. They have all day to do that. Come on.
And my grandpa just died. My caretaker just died. Oh, woe was me.
Yeah,
that's true.
And this show's pissing me off so much. There's so much, and then Casey and his wife they figure out that he can dance. He's like, I can dance. She's like, how have I never known this? I'm like, that's a good question. How have you never known this? As if you guys have never danced before.
Yeah.
Just it's killing me. It's like they're out of ideas and they're just trying to fill space.
Yeah, and they brought all like the girls back, the exes. They bring Jimmy back.
They're just out of space, or like they're out of ideas, but they have to get these episodes off to Amazon, and
the only thing they're doing right, they keep on getting the music right. They brought in Charles Wesley Godwin last 2 episodes again. They brought in Sam can't think of his name right now, but
their music is always on point.
Always on point. Yeah. Oh, well, all right. I'm glad we got that. I'm glad you agreed with me on the what's his name, Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
He also, not to go on again, but he did the same thing in one of the the prequel things where he was like, he came in out of nowhere and saved everyone with from the Indians. I think it was the one where they go across the land, like they go from Texas to Montana.
Yeah,
Tim McGraw one. He saves Tim McGraw. He's like, well, I'm just out here being a cowboy. Don't mind me.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's like saves the day and shoots.
Fair enough, though. I'll give him that one because I mean, at some point, it's still got to be pretty fun to be able to do that and be like, to be able to just hop in and be on the scene instead of just producing all the time. So I'm fine with that one. But like, it just goes to your point of the bigger picture. Like, okay, dude, like stop. You can only put so much fucking air in your tires. Like, enough.
Yeah. We already thought you were incredible. Like, you've got all these great shows. Relax.
Yeah, because Lawman or Landman, whatever. Oh, have you watched any of that?
Not yet. No.
Oh my god, I watched the first 2 episodes. It's incredible. Billy Bob is going to win awards. He's hilarious. Yeah, it's good.
I'm excited because obviously going to Texas Tech, it's all in that kind of Midland, West Texas area. So
100%. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into week 15. I think there's a ton of good games.
Good.
Right out of the gates.
Yeah, lots.
Niners, Rams. Oh, wow.
That's huge. That's the Thursday nighter.
Yeah, Thursday nighter. The Niners are just bit at the running back position. It's like, don't play running back for the 49ers. You're going to get hurt every time.
Like everyone's all fired up thinking that they're so smart because they went and got Garendo, and he gone.
Yeah, he's 100% gone. One guy has spent like $61. We have $100 for the auction budget. 61 he had left. He spent it all on Garendo.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I mean, I don't know who to pick. I'm just gonna take the Niners. They're at home. I need them to win from my bet, so I'm gonna stick with them.
Yeah.
But after what the Rams
just because the Rams have been looking good. And
yeah.
Although I feel like, and I've said it 100 times in this podcast, though, there's always those division matchups, but I feel like this is one that the Rams don't usually do well with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Like, I think they're good against Cardinals, but not so good against them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll look it up before I put my pick in, but I think that might be the case.
Yeah, and the Rams are looking outrageous.
Yeah. Oh my God! What another amazing game for Sunday morning. Cowboys Panthers, everybody.
Yes. Woo-wee. Hold on to your hats.
Whoa. Yikes.
And the Panthers might actually are favored, which is incredible.
Yes. That's amazing. That is so amazing. I hope they stomp them. I think that would just be glorious.
I wish I had Cowboys fans in my life that are as annoying as Mike with the Fins.
Yeah.
That I could just attack all the time, but I don't know one Cowboys fan. I'm sure I know them.
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. We were going through that up here with like looking through our fantasy league, just our group of buddies, and there was like 3 teams. Like I don't know a Cowboys fan, a Bears fan, and I think the only other one was the Jets. But other than that, like I literally know in a fairly close circle, like a fan of every team. It's wild. There's the Cowboys and the Bears are 2 of them.
You even have a Panthers friend who goes to like weird little sex things.
Yeah, Berkey. He goes to the Roaring Riot or something that it's called. They go to a game every year somewhere where the Panthers play. There's a whole pack of them.
Yeah, and they all share their wives, and it's weird. It's
great. That's right. We threw that one out there. I don't know if that's true, but it makes for a way better story on the podcast.
It sure does.
I can't remember if I ever asked him if he saw that one. I'm gonna have to dig that one out.
Yeah, definitely have to.
His wife scares me a little though, so maybe I won't. Yeah.
All right, I take it back then. This is crazy. I guess everyone's on it. The Chiefs not covering, so the Chiefs are only 4.5 point favorites over the Browns.
Yeah.
Which always a stay away, as we know. You never bet.
That's a lot of points for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
There's so many. Oh no, there's so many never do's in this game. Yeah. Never count on Jameis to not throw 2 pick sixes. The Chiefs never cover that many points. Fuck. This game's a mess.
I wish it was like a 9-point spread, and I would bet my bet of the week would be Browns money line, because it's just Jameis somehow delivers the Chiefs in one of their 2 losses of the year on the way to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Next is an interesting game, Dolphins Texans, because the Texans I just don't know what to think of.
Yeah,
and the Dolphins are just I don't know. They can't be anyone good.
No, but it's Houston good, right?
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are fighting for their lives right now. So I don't know. I'd like to. What I'm looking at 2.5. What are you looking at?
Yeah, 2.5 is the utmost. I'm going to take the Texans just because they have a 500 or better record, and the Dolphins have won 1 game in 2 to 3 years against. Yeah.
And Texas is actually coming off a bye as well.
Yeah, as well. Okay. Bengals Titans. Bengals are only 5 point favorites over the Titans.
Yeah. Nice. the Bengals don't think that they're dead. You could tell by the way they were playing, and really they could get to 9 wins still, right?
Yeah.
So I think they're just desperate. I think what Burrow and Chase are doing is insane,
Crazy.
and I think the Titans suck. So
Yeah.
that I don't know how much more clear I can make my thoughts on
It's
that game.
Perfect insight.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Which is weird.
All I
T.
got
Higgins isn't getting more yards because it's like T. Higgins, I imagine, has to have nobody covering him because it's like triple team chase is what everyone should be doing. So
Yeah,
Higgins should be wide open. I don't understand that too much.
but it just doesn't seem to matter. They could put as many guys as you want on Chase, and that's why I'm still upset about that. Their game against the Ravens, and part of it was because it was 2:00 in the morning in Halifax, and I was at an awesome Irish bar by seeing not clear because of the time change. But they scored and they didn't go for 2, or they went for 2, which I loved, and then they threw it to their backup tight end. Just throw it to Chase, just because that's all when they roll like they did last night on their good drives. He was just throwing it to Chase, he wasn't even looking anywhere else, and he didn't care who was covering him. So do that next time you get down there and you need that 2-pointer. Fuck, who cares if there's 6 people on him? Just throw it to him.
Yeah, and never run a zone against the Bengals ever. When they need, you need to have someone on Chase. Not don't get him space or don't let him do anything. Get 2 people on him.
Yeah,
no zones.
Yeah, and if it's down by the goal line, put a defensive end over top of him.
Yeah,
just try to mug him and hope he doesn't miss by too much.
Commander Saints, another shit game. I thought we had a bunch of good games. I guess they come in there, but Commander Saints, who cares? 7-point favorites, the Commanders.
Dog water, that game.
Yeah.
No car.
No.
Doesn't matter.
No. Jets, Jaguars.
Dog water.
Yeah. Back to the Saints Commanders. Where do you stand if you can choose? It's fantasy football playoffs. If you're in I'm in a guillotine league still somehow.
Yeah.
And or I guess if you're in a 12-team league, do you start someone like Jaden Daniels in a game that they're just going to dominate? Or do you play? Where's another game in here? A game that could be close versus a game that could be a blowout.
I think you just start whoever you think's going to put up the most. Yeah. Not fantasy points, but actual points. If you think the Comedies are somehow going to put up 35, you can't worry about, oh, well, shoot, they ended up running 3 of those touchdowns in. You have to say, you know what, they're going to beat up on them. And it's just a better chance that you're going to get points.
Yeah. Yeah, I get worried because I'm just the Commanders can run the ball well. So, sure, he's not healthy fully. So do they just keep him in the garage a little bit?
But coming off a bye as well, though, right? So he's had time to heal up. I think this might be a huge game for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the Saints starting at quarterback? Why can't I think of who it is?
It'll be
the rookie, right?
Yeah, the Rattler.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jets, Jaguars. Another we just already said that bad game. Jets are 3.5-point favorites.
They're just playing for draft positioning at this point, both those teams. Yeah. But the Jaguars played tough last week. They ended up pulling out a win somehow. I don't know. Yeah. Seems like a lot of points.
Yeah. Could go either way. Ravens, Giants. Ravens are 14.5-point favorites.
When do the good games come? You're right. This is shit.
Yeah. Well, then we get a good game, and we already talked about it. Somehow the Eagles are 5-point favorites over the Steelers, which makes 0 sense to me.
Yeah, none.
So, I guess we'll see.
Afternoon spot, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's a good game.
4 afternoon games.
And that's where some good ones are.
5 afternoon games. Why do they have... why can't they sprinkle it out? Jesus. Flex some games in the morning so we have some good morning games.
Yeah.
But this isn't a great game, but I guess it is for a needy game for the Colts and the Broncos. The Broncos are 4-point favorites over the Colts.
Yeah. The Broncos can pretty much eliminate the Colts, can't they? They can certainly put enough distance between them. Between them as those two teams, and that would give the Colts 8 losses. They've probably done, but it would mean they'd be, 3.5, 4.5 games back of the Broncos. So that's basically a loser. Leaves town for the Colts, not for the Broncos. I think they could still.
They're still good,
up and off, but that's a massive game for Indy.
Yeah,
which means I'll take Bo Nix. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely take Bo Nix.
Game of the week,
Um,
Patriots Cardinals. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, here we go. uh,
Here
Bills
we go.
Lions. Lions 2.5 point favorites.
Oof. Yeah. Is it even a bounce back game for the Bills? Are they upset about? They sure they lost, but my God,
Mm.
Josh just went off.
Guess what this over under is?
um, 58 and a half.
53.5.
Fuck.
It's still pretty much double almost every other game. It's by
Yeah.
far the highest. I think second is like 47.5, but most are in the 45
Wow.
range.
Wow. That's a tough game. That's a very tough game. And because the Lions, they got to keep playing. Like they can't.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings and the Eagles both won't go away. So
Yeah. And the Packers to some extent. The Packers can still kind of breach him.
yeah.
Um, I've got, again, my guillotine league rested on the Lions game. I've got this one again, St. Brown, um, Josh Allen, and then Dave Montgomery. So I'll be watching
Oh
that
wow.
game.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want that over to hit?
Yeah, absolutely.
You-
Uh, Bucks Chargers, another great game. Chargers 3 point favorites. Ooh, the Bucks are like, I think we said this at the middle of the year. They're them and the Rams. Maybe we said about the Rams. They're like a good but not good team. I just don't like they can win, but you can't trust them whatsoever. I just
no,
don't understand.
not at all. But Bakesy's not making mistakes.
Hmm.
I think with the Bucks, sometimes their defense shows up, and sometimes
That
it's
too.
garbage. So um, I think with the Chargers, it's all going to depend on if McConkey comes back because he's clearly their number one target, even though he's a rookie.
Hmm.
And then we traded out
Yeah.
of his spot where he got drafted, so that's very cool. I always love reminding myself of that.
Imagine if you had the Vikings drafting your wide receivers. That would be great. Big homie Cam.
Jeez, no kidding.
I think I'm gonna go Chargers 3 point favorites. I just think their
Yeah,
defense
I like
play
it.
well.
I
Then
like it.
your aforementioned Patriots Cardinals. We keep on getting screwed because I think the Patriots haven't covered as much as we think they have. But I still
No,
think I would take the Patriots to cover 6 points over the Cardinals. But
it's a lot coming off a bye. Like you hope they play well, but I have liked
hmm,
some of the chatter I've heard lately about if they don't finish strong, that they might actually get rid of Mayo after 1 year, and I hope it's true.
hmm.
Um, like they should. I'd love it right now if they just had a deal in place already with Vrabel. Just
I
let's go,
was
bring the big
I was
man
about
back.
to ask. I was about to ask why didn't they take Vrabel in the first place? So weird.
They made this deal like 3 years ago with Mayo that he was going to be he was the head coach in waiting. So like
Hmm.
that, and they put it in his contract. They got around the Rooney Rule. Like it was just in
Huh.
place. So um,
They got
no,
around the Rooney Rule, so they didn't interview white guys. Those motherfuckers.
isn't that unbelievable?
Oh my
There's
god.
reverse racism at its finest.
Those racist assholes.
It's unbelievable. It's like the refs that just let Joe Burrow get the living shit beat out of him and never call
Oh,
anything.
here we go.
If
That's
that
the
some of these
worst take
face
of the
masks
week.
ever happened to Mahomes, people will go to jail, and the refs are just like, nah, I didn't even see it. Nah,
This is
nothing.
that's the worst take ever.
Third
Everyone loves
down, his
Burrow.
mask almost got ripped off of his head last night. No flag, nothing, zero. But if
Uh,
it's a huge play in the fourth quarter, you get near Mahomes. If you touch him, it's every ref throws a flag. There's like 6 of them on the field.
I would say if it wasn't Joe Burrow, because everyone loves Joe Burrow, but he's actually
Yeah,
because the other time he got face mask too, right? In that,
yeah, against the
yeah,
Ravens, and it was like a huge play at the end of the game.
yeah,
He gets crushed, and they never call anything. Like I don't know why. He seems like
I
the
like
nicest guy. Yeah, it's so bizarre, so
yeah.
bizarre.
All right, Packers Seahawks. Packers, yeah,
Yes,
I'm on the Packers 3 point favorites. People are all on the Seahawks, but I think we've talked about this before, where the Seahawks are just kind of like a good team against good teams, but they're not like any team that's a higher end team. I don't think they're that great.
I think you're discounting though. Night game. It's going to be raining. It's going to be
Hmm.
that crowd will be absolutely bonkers. I'm so excited for this game. Um, Originally, I planned because I'm going with a couple of Packers fans and one Seahawks fan, and then a couple others that are on the fence. But the one guy has an AJ Hawk jersey, so I was going to support him. But now with the emergence of Charbonnet, and he's going to be carrying one of my fantasy teams, two of my fantasy teams.
Ooh,
I'm full Seahawks, and I'm going to be part of that crowd, and I'm very excited. So I got to
nice.
take the Seahawks.
Okay, I'm going Packers. I just don't think they're good against really good teams.
Yeah.
Um, Bears Vikings. I thought the line would be a lot closer. The Bears have been keeping it relatively close,
Yeah.
right?
That's a lot for a division game, isn't it?
Mm. Defense is good. In our guillotine league, do you pick up Justin Jefferson? Because I'm just torn. I
Yeah,
would have to
right.
spend all my money on it, and their pass defense is good.
Would you
What's
though?
his?
There's only 4 teams left. Like,
And
how
the
much
other
money is he
two
going to
have
go for?
the other two have like 150. They're outrageous.
Yeah, but don't like at some point they who are they going to drop? Those teams are good.
Yeah. So
Like, did Nakua just got picked up for like $27 2 weeks ago?
yeah,
So
I don't even have. I only have like $23 left. So
you
we're,
got
we're in
to go
trouble.
down with your guy. Although it's
Yeah,
risky because Addison is just poaching everything.
that's what I'm saying. Poaching
Yeah,
everything. And what's the Bears corner? Who's like one of the best in the league, isn't he? Or he's playing like it.
yeah. He used to be
Sure.
anyway. He hasn't been
Yeah.
as good this year, I think.
Isn't he also a JJ? Is it JJ
Yeah,
versus JJ?
Jawan Johnson, I think,
Johnson? Yeah.
something like that.
Hmm. All right. Well,
That's
yeah,
a lot of
I think I would.
points.
Yeah, I think I would take the Bears to cover in that one.
Yeah.
And then just a shithousery of a game.
Oh God.
Oh, but it's a Desmond Ritter revenge game, maybe, right?
Ooh, I like revenge games. Unless
Yeah.
it's against Michael Penix Jr., which it should be. But
Mm-hmm.
what are they waiting for?
I don't know. Especially the season's pretty much done. You gotta
Oh, if
do
you
it.
don't, I mean, they're only a game back of the Bucks,
Oh, I guess they have a few, man.
right? And they beat them twice, so
Mm-hmm.
they just got to stay within striking distance. But like, it's been a month since Kirk threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah, it's not good. And he's thrown 7 interceptions in that month.
Yeah, but the Raiders are also horseshit. So
Yeah.
who knows who wins that game? Over under, like you had the tiebreaker score in my pool. You have to pick that. I'm picking like 32. That's
Brock Bowers
garbage.
also out there on the guillotine waiver wire, but he's got Desmond Ritter throwing to him. Jesus
That's the
Christ.
problem, which sucks because that kid is so good.
So good.
See, that's a team right there. You need to be on the phone if you're the Vikings and be like, hey, look, Raiders, before you even get to the draft, keep your top 3 pick. I know you're not trading that to take like best player available. Give us your second rounder and the future 4th or 3rd, and JJ McCarthy's yours. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, I agree. But the Raiders are the Raiders, and they'll blow it somehow.
Well, but the other thing there though is Michigan boy, and they just got a Michigan boy as their owner, and Tom Brady. So,
ooh, yeah.
Right.
When's the last time the Raiders had a decent quarterback? Rich Gannon?
Rich Gannon, MVP year.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That was like 20 plus years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Patriots beat the Raiders to basically end their little mini run and start the dynasty in the snow game.
Oh, was that the snow kick? That was Rich Gannon in the snow
2001.
kick?
2001. Yeah.
Okay. I'm also glad that we brought this up because I had another question for you. Are game managed quarterbacks never going to win a Super Bowl again? Because I was thinking about this. Sam Darnold, I think, is a high end game manager. He maybe might break out of that.
Yeah.
And then Jared Goff, I think, is like a higher end game manager. But yeah, I wonder if they can ever win a Super Bowl again because the last time was what's his name in Baltimore, and
Trent
you could
Dilfer.
maybe say Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
So I mean, can you do it?
I think
Eli?
the year the Broncos won it, Peyton was just a game manager. I mean, he was a genius game manager, but like his tools were gone. But he won that. End. Yeah, he won there. I mean, you could really say this year, like Mahomes has been a game manager most of the season. It's just that you always know he has the ability to pull out the rabbit out of his hat and do it 3 times a game. So I don't think that's fair.
Is Eli a game manager or is he?
Yeah, he was, and then he was pulled out. He had like 2 incredible plays, one in each game.
I'd like to get Eli drunk and just ask him, like in his heart of hearts, because like all these people, like these quarterbacks, athletes, they think they're the best, right?
Yeah.
And Eli pokes fun at himself. He's very, likable. He's not doesn't have ego, it seems. Like if you get him drunk, he's like, no, I'm fucking better than Tom Brady. Like, does he actually have that? Because he has to, right? Does he actually think?
No.
Oh, you know what? If you give me Bill Belichick, and blah, 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 Randy Moss and Gronkowski and Julian Edelman. I
Yeah.
guarantee you I'm better than Tom, or at least equal. Like, does he think that a little bit? If
I
you
don't
got
think
him
he
drunk in his heart of
does.
hearts?
I think
Yeah.
Peyton does. I don't think
Yeah.
he does. I think Eli knows. Like he's
Hmm.
so grounded. He's so hilarious. Like when
Mhm.
him and Tom go back and forth, whether it be times they've been together or even like on social media, they go back and forth chirp each other. It's fucking
Yeah.
priceless. Like
It is great. That's
I think he's well aware, self aware enough to know that fuck me, I got
mm,
away with one for sure, probably two to get these
yeah.
rings, and I'm gonna take it though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be quite happy with it, but
That's why I just hope, like, if you did get him just plastered, and he's like, he had
just see him
that
go
ego
off.
side of him,
Yes.
because you know what, like, they all think they are the best at
Of
everything,
course.
like they have to. That's why they are
Yeah.
so good. So maybe if he's just like, I mean, I get it, Tom's Tom, but if you gave me Bill Belichick, I'd fucking kill him. Like, it's fine.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Just sauce. And fuck you, Peyton. You can have some too. And just starts just giving it to everybody. It's like a Christmas dinner, and he's on his fourth eggnog.
It's like,
Yeah,
Eli, we're on Monday Night Football on ESPN too.
totally. He's like, oh, sorry, putting the drink down. Never mind. Sorry, I thought we were done recording.
Yeah. It's all this fun setting we have in Dad's house. I thought we were at home.
Amazing. It'd be so good. True serum for Eli.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see it. All right. I don't have much of a newborn topic, but I was just thinking on my bike ride.
Yeah.
One thing I'm not looking forward to be a dad is just like having to talk with schmucks that like, because whoever your kid's friends with, you have to talk with their dads, and it's just
Yeah.
small talk with people I don't want to talk to is probably my least favorite thing on earth. Like
It is.
you as well.
Oh God, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. I perfected a new thing now that ski season's back, and like you'll get on a chair and there'll be some other people they get on, and you can kind of hear them that they're talking to you, but I've got my earphones on. It's just I love just doing this. I'll just turn and be like, I just don't talk to them. It's awesome. Like shut the fuck. Hey, I'm listening to some good stuff right now. McAfee's really getting after it on here. I'm listening to a good podcast, or I got a good song on. Like I'm not interested, man.
Yeah, it's like I don't wear like I don't really have a ton of Viking stuff I would wear anyways, like out, but like I don't to an airport or anything.
Yeah,
I won't wear my Vikings hat anymore because I just don't want some schmuck from Minnesota, like and striking up conversation, or some hillbilly from Green Bay.
I really
And
hope
like,
that you didn't get this from me because it's such a bad trait.
no,
when I hear you say that, I'm like, oh, you're such a bad person. I'm like, fuck, he learned this from me for sure.
Yeah. It's just so annoying. It's like, don't want to talk to you about small talk, where you're from, what you do for a living. I don't care.
The best part is that I learned it from my dad. And you can't clip this one, by the way, because just in case someone's watching it. But I remember when I was a kid and we'd go, and mom was like the accounting manager at a Walmart. And so we sometimes when he was off, we'd go down and see her. And we had an uncle who works there. And I remember more than once we'd be walking, and he was like a maintenance guy, so he never knew where he was going to be. We'd be walking through the store going to meet her, and all of a sudden I'd see like him, and then I would just get this tug on my shirt, and we'd like go down a different alley or like aisle. We'd be like in women's underwear or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck going on? But then I realized when I got a little bit older, that it's because he didn't want to talk to anybody that he could see and didn't want to talk to. So we'd be just up, and off we'd go, and it happened more than once. And so I learned from him, and I guess you learned it from me.
Yeah.
And it's such a bad guy trait.
Yeah, and it's so weird because I mean I love talking to people, so you wouldn't think that I just don't want to talk to people I don't know about bullshit.
I'm
the
with
same. You. Why are you here? What do you do for a living? You like the Vikings? Shut the fuck up! I don't care.
It's awesome. That is so good. That is so good.
So I'm not looking forward to the dads I have to talk to about fucking
Hold on
nothing.
though, because I do have to say, like, I got some buddies who had like the same feelings, but then as their kids are doing sports and they're going on the road, you can always find one or two dads on the team that they could tolerate, and they got like a group and then they have fun. So, but it's tough. You got to weed through the weirdos to finally be like, okay, finally I found like a dude I can hang out with.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So, I'll say, who knows if I'll be living in Costa Rica then or not, but I won't know Spanish, so we'll also need to figure that out.
That'll make it easier.
Yeah.
You can just be like, there we go. No habla.
Yeah. That's true.
Well,
actually, I think I like talking more with Costa Ricans than I do hillbilly Americans
I was
about
just gonna
small talk.
say it.
Yeah. Well, I had to think about how I wanted to say
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You didn't want to just say Americans. You had to throw in the
Yeah,
hillbilly
exactly.
part.
Hillbilly.
I'm
Mm.
fair. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
If you don't have the baby stuff, I have another winner we haven't got to yet. You're not gonna
Ooh.
like it though. You're not gonna
Oh
like it.
dear.
To
Here you
see
go.
that the Time Athlete of the Year is none other than the biggest basketball player on the planet. It's named today.
Oh my god. That's fine. She gets a bunch of
Caitlin
heroics,
Clark.
but
So the best basketball player on the planet's a woman. That's so good. It
it's
shows you
not the
how
best
irrelevant the
basketball on the planet.
NBA is. I just love it. It's fantastic.
Oh my god. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, but it's fine. She's definitely the most polarizing, and
Yeah,
good on her, but
good on
she's
her.
definitely not the best.
Biggest basketball player on the planet, according to Time Magazine.
In a league that loses $80 million a year.
It's
Yep.
semantics. It's growing.
People
It's
aren't
growing.
watching.
It's growing.
How many games have you watched?
0.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a lot of her college games though.
Yeah. And then you see like the other girl that she's up against. Why can't I think of her name? She shoots 25% from the floor, and like it's just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's terrible. All right, well, I guess good podcast. Good one to end on.
It is.
All right.
Are we gonna get Stace back before Christmas? We gotta get him back at least one more time.
I tried this week, but he was busy, so hopefully we'll get him next week.
I'll work on it if I can get him next week because he's coming to Seattle. He's obviously one of the Packers fans, so I will work on him, and hopefully we'll have some good stories, or we'll completely be still nursing like a major 3-day hangover.
There's no way he's going to be working on Tuesday, so perfect.
You wouldn't think he's working most days, but
any day. Yeah,
that's a story for another time. He's not like me, but like that's why we do this podcast at night, and then I can go to sleep because I've had a tough day.
Exactly. Yes. Very exactly. All right. Well, good podcast. FanEverland.com. Thanks for watching.
Peace.